My name is Abel Dutra. I'm 34 years old, born and raised here in the Chino area, first generation American. My parents immigrated here from the Azores, Portugal. Growing up, my parents kept us involved in the Portuguese community. And through the years, I've seen it grow in a lot of different ways, being involved in the activities from the Philharmonic band to the folklore, from soccer. It's given me an opportunity to see a lot of different cultures within the Portuguese culture. And it's also given me the opportunity to meet a lot of different people outside the Portuguese culture and know that what we have in the Portuguese community is very unique, and it's something that people are intrigued about, and yet something that they wish that they had. So I feel very fortunate to be a part of it. My parents are from the island of Terceira in the Azores, Portugal. If you guys, Azores are islands of Portugal that are about 400 kilometers west of mainland Portugal. My parents were both born and raised in Terceira. My dad actually left when he was about 3 years old. They took the family to Brazil. They were there for about 10, 12 years. And then unfortunately there's an incident at the time where my uncle passed away. And because of that, my grandparents decided to come to America. The way my mom came here is when my dad went on a soccer tournament with some friends from a local Portuguese community, went to the island to visit and met my mom. My mom was very young at the time. I think she was 14 when she met my dad. They were married at 16, and then he brought her to the States. So they came down here and they settled in Corona. In California alone, there's a lot of Portuguese communities from a lot of different areas of Portugal and the islands. The Portuguese people, very prideful people with their culture. A lot of them have community centers that they have and that they carry on a lot of the traditional festures that we have. You know, a lot of them are all religious based, with the Holy Ghost, Our Lady of Fatima, to name a few. So being in the household was we had a lot of those Portuguese roots where we had that very family oriented gatherings, and not necessarily family blood, but there's also the family and friends that are always your extended family. We were raised around all the kids in the Portuguese community and participating in some of the traditions, from anything from a matança to danças carnaval, and playing in the Philharmonic band, playing soccer within those communities, having those opportunities there. So it was very encouraged to be there, and my parents pushed it, and I've always been involved in that community in that aspect, and I've been doing it ever since. Carnaval is, a lot of people know what Mardi Gras is, and now I wish I could tell you what the history of the Mardi Gras and why it persists, but with that whole era from the island of Terceira, through those times while everybody's doing parades and big old festivities up and down the streets, the people from the island of Terceira decide to celebrate Carnaval via dance, acting, musicianship. They're basically dances that we perform in halls or theaters for the communities. You could start off with music, dancing, then you come up with like an opening song, and then the middle part is where you actually have your skit. There's some comedy, there's some drama, there's just some good, fresh stories that people can kind of walk away thinking, hey, it's reality, but they kind of have a good meaning behind it. And it's something that I enjoyed doing for a lot of different reasons. It was fun being on stage, performing, singing, dancing, but I think the key thing was just being around people my age, being around the older people, the older generation, sharing stories, listening to them have a good time, sharing their good times when they were younger, and then also create new memories for us. Luso American life insurance started back in the late 1800s, 1868 if I'm not mistaken. When the times came where a lot of people were passing away, that there was not a lot of the death benefits, and it was a struggle. So a lot of the entrepreneurs at the time got together, and they created this life insurance society where it would give benefits to a lot of people, and at the time it was just focused on just Portuguese descent. So with the life insurance society came the Luso fraternal side. It would basically, that focuses on it's more of like a social fraternity. And one of the things that's very unique about our fraternal organization is that we focus a lot on the youth. And when we have our annual conventions every year, the youth councils get together and they put on a show, a theatrical show. And it's competitive to keep it a little bit on edge, which I think is a great thing. It's a fun environment. And we put on this huge show at a theater where it allows these kids to showcase their talents. And at the end of the day, it helps the kids not only learn about their culture, but also gives them a safe environment to grow, learn, and become stronger leaders. With Carnaval, I've always been involved with it ever since I can remember as a kid. going to the Portuguese clubs and seeing them being on stage. And I remember as a kid, you know, it was something that I watched and I was always in awe and I really liked, and I loved it. And then a couple years later, my uncle was a leader with the group. He came to me and asked me to be what they call a meshed, which basically in these dances is usually a person who kind of, you can quote unquote the leader of the dance, either by tambourine, a sword. Luso, a lot of derived from the whole carnival stuff, where they came out to us and participated in the conventions in '91. That's when I got hooked. It was, you know, being on stage, performing, singing, dancing, and you know, once we were in, and it was a great place to be because it got us all together. It was something we did for the community, it was something that we did for ourselves, but also it gave us an opportunity for us all to be together. If you talk to a lot of Portuguese people, people have a lot of pride of where they come from, and we are very prideful people. So to be around a lot of people that share that same pride, I like to be around them, to get to know them, to get to know their families, just to have that. We're a big family, and to have that, it's priceless. A lot of people don't have that, and I see that. And you know, and I love being around people who share in that same common interest. You can go anywhere in California and probably know a couple people. Why? Because they're Portuguese. Staying to the Portuguese culture, I really like it. I see the good meaning, the roots behind it. A lot of us, you know, you look at society today, a lot of people forget about who they are, where they come from. And I enjoy where I come from. I think one of the biggest things that helps us a lot, you know, we have these big old clubs that we're all part of, and they're all owned by the people. And I see these community centers and these clubs, and when you tie in your culture and being able to share your culture with the community, I think there's endless opportunities. So yes, today the people aren't immigrating like they were, but people like to see the different cultures and society and the things that we do different. Now, you know, what we have to do today to keep it going is we can't just allow just the Portuguese people that can participate. No, we have to be able to open our doors and allow the community, whether what race you are or culture, whatever it may be, because people like that and people like that culture. And we live in America where we're a land of many opportunities and a land where people can be exposed to so many different things and they can embrace it. But you know, if I can do my part to help solidify that structure moving forward, then I like to do it. I can't do it forever, you know, but I know I can do my part to stamp it in and hopefully allow the younger generation to have a part of it. And I see us in a good spot, not only in this community, but there's a lot more people like myself through up and down the state of California that want to see that continue, because the Portuguese people have a lot to offer. They have a lot of fruits from their culture. Our roots are strong, and you know, and I know they all want to keep on watering that root and make it grow, continue to grow. And it's not going to be how it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, but it's okay. But as long as we keep the roots and let it flourish how it may come in the future, I think that's the most important part.